differentiate more on what President Muhammadu Buhari expects the service chiefs to be doing at a time like this. It demands increased surveillance patrol on Abuja-Kaduna Highway, directs them to provide adequate security during Juletide, hails Nigeria's emergence as VP Interpol Africa, declares Anambra Guba poll free and fair, says 2023 not threatened and we are worried over security threats on Abuja-Kaduna Highway. The Kaduna reps caucus are talking. The banner headline of the Nigerian Tribune, where I move next, petrol price hike will double all vices under APC. PDP is a legend there, says Nigeria now a beggar, a debtor nation through Buhari's borrowings. Okay, politics right there, banner headline. Of course, you still have some other stories like NDLEA intercepting cocaine worth about 2.7 billion naira at an Abuja airport. And the banner headline of the Punch, where I go next, banner headline of the Punch is all about subsidy. So many top stories, making the rounds in Nigeria right now. It's all about subsidy, and it says federal government may deduct 2.4 trillion naira palliative from the Federation account and plans talks. Riders, states provide lists of 42 million beneficiaries of 5,000 lajes monthly. Government must fix refineries before removing subsidy, Pengerson insists. And Lagos seems to be doing some great work as Lagos State plans about 3,400 housing units for workers. That's coming from Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. And lastly, the Nation newspaper this morning, subsidy removal not intended to punish Nigerians. The Minister for Labour and Productivity, Dr. Chris Ngige, is talking there, but the banner headline says bandits are terrorists. That's coming from the court. Judiciary proscribes Yambindiga, Yantada groups, others, membership declared unlawful when it says all the bandit groups are terrorists. That's what the Federal High Court in Abuja has done. It has outlawed the activities of groups linked to banditry and declared their activities as acts of terrorism. Those are stories that we have on the front page of the papers this morning. Let me take a very tiny little bit of commercial break. When we come back, we're talking about disability law. In the next couple of months in Nigeria, some people will be getting punished for disobeying the law. As a matter of fact, quite a number of people do not even know that the disability law does exist. We have guests in the studio this morning from up north. I like to call it up north because they come all the way from the northern states to come and study what Lagos has been doing differently. You meet them after this commercial.
Midday in Rio, midnight in Tokyo, breakfast in LA, tomorrow morning by the Tasman Sea, 5 o'clock in Paris and Zagreb, 6 o'clock in Moscow, and here is the planet's ultimate game.
One year to go, and only one place to go. Get and stay connected to DSTV to watch all 64 matches of the FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022 live on SuperSport, your home of unbeatable football.
Welcome back to the Bumper Breakfast. Interesting morning it is. I did say we're talking about disability law. And joining me this morning on the Bumper Breakfast, all the way from the northern part of the country, I have the Director of Partners Office of the SSG, that's the SSG's office, Kano State, is talking about disability and understanding what has been happening in Lagos. Mr. Rabiu Bichi is in the studio this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm fine.
And hope you found our hospitality interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Oh, we took care of you, right?
Yeah, yes.
But Mr. Dari can be really nice.
Yes,
it can be really nice.
Yes.
I'm sure he did a great work taking care of you.
Mr. Dari has been a good resource person. And it's interesting that we have seen development in Lagos, not only in terms of infrastructure, but
Yes.
in terms of awareness and
Okay.
how people go around their normal lives. It's really interesting.
I'm sure you got loads of documents, you know,
Yeah,
that you're going
yeah.
to be returning to your people when you
Yes,
get
we
to
were
Kano.
given sort of documents.
Okay.
We got the first law, the law signed by the Lagos State government for persons with disability.
For discipline.
Yes, there is also this education policy
Okay.
for Lagos State and a lot of other documents. Yes.
So you're going full, your bags are full. All right, the man on my right this morning, Mr. Haruna Ibrahim, Director, Financial Administration, Jigawa State Rehabilitation Board and Ministry of Human Affairs and Social Development. Good morning.
Good morning, madam.
Good to have you in Lagos.
Thank you so much.
And hope you share the testimony you
Exactly.
had. You had so much fun.
Exactly. Lagos is a hospitable state. We are warmly received and treated. So I'm
Nicely.
grateful to the Lagos State government and the executive managing director of Disability Affairs Commission for having a wonderful planning for us to see what Rabiu has said in Lagos. We're really impressed with what we see. Thank you.
I'm so glad that you had this much fun in Lagos. Okay, let's take a look at this. We're talking about disability law, and I quickly like to give a background to it. The Expanding Social Protection for Inclusive Development is a foreign Commonwealth and Development Office funded project implemented by Save the Children and Action Against Anger in Jigawa, Kaduna, Kano, and Zamfara states, respectively. Now, the governments of Jigawa and Kano are at different stages of implementing disability-inclusive programs through the enactment of laws and development of implementation framework in order to pardon me, please. Now, in order to make sure that this works and ensure best practice, this visit was scheduled to learn from Lagos. And I did ask Mr. Bichi, Rabiu, the other time, what exactly was the experience like in Lagos. Now, let me go to Haruna. You've been going around with the Disability Commission here in Lagos, and you've had conversations with them. I want to ask, who exactly or what exactly have you learned that Lagos has been doing differently? Because way before the disability law was passed at the federal level, Lagos already had a disability law. What have you learned? What have you seen that we are doing differently that other states can adopt?
Actually, I've seen a lot of things that is quite unique in Lagos, particularly when it comes to issue of the structure, even of the organization, going to the administration, and then operational activities that are carried out by the agency. In fact, we learn a lot from them, particularly in the area of how Lagos State government is develop a kind of mechanism where all PWDs, persons with disabilities in Lagos State, are properly captured and enrolled, which give them a kind of way for them to benefit from the government and policies and programs.
Okay.
Then the second issue is the issue of issuing of certificate.
Okay.
Of course, that one is an achievement. Of course, we in Jigawa State, even though we have the law for the past 4 years, we are yet to reach that point where a certificate is issued to beneficiaries that certify them or qualify them to access and government and incentives. Then another issue, the issue of issuing of identification card, and then even the issue of blue card, a blue bag, which give him disabilities a kind of place, parking space in all ministries and public and private and organizations, of which this is, of course, a very wonderful achievement. So we learn a lot from them. Even we learn from their successes. I even learn from their challenges, because I believe being an organization, when there is success, there will be challenges. So they tell us more about the challenges, and we are going to learn from the challenges so that we know how to package our own implementation framework in a way that we can avoid ourselves from indulge that kind of problems.
You see, my biggest concern studying the disability law is education.
Yes.
The people are not educated.
Yes.
And this is not just talking about people without disability. We're talking about even people with disability do not know that the laws, exist
Yes.
to protect them. What is Kano State doing to make sure that the people are aware that they can be protected?
Yes. As for the case of Kano State, Kano State signed the law, the government signed the law in tail end of December 2018.
Okay.
So the law comes in at the tail end of December 2018 before the federal government.
The federal
That
government
is
as well.
after the one for Lagos.
For Lagos.
Yes, okay. So what happened is that with the inception of the law, the first thing we did is a sort of general sensitization.
Yes.
That sensitization we went to the general public, the key stakeholders for disability in the state, and all other that matters, academia, private sector, everybody was invited to a sensitization workshop held around March 2019 at the Kano House. There was this open invitation for every stakeholder that he is able to come and attend and voice out whatever that he has in mind, or that he looks at the law, and whatever observation that he has to voice out, he is allowed to come and voice out. So it was done at the government house, and every category or group of PWDs have been attended, and after the sensitization, there were issues that comes as regard to the principal law that was signed in the 2018. So what happened is that from the observation comments from society, that is the PWDs, then comes the need for amendment of the law. So from that issues, we learned that in the initial law, it is proposed that it has been approved that sort of a board should be made for disabled in the Kano State. And from the observation, they said that the board will not be in tandem with the new development coming across the country. So at that, it was recommended that a commission should be created. So that is why we generally look at the law again, make reviews and other recommendations in the form of amendment bill 2021. So it has now been approved by Kano State Executive Council, and it is now before Kano State House Assembly for passage.
Okay.
As regard to our visit here in Lagos, it's basically a rights learning visit to Lagos. In another perspective, it is a sort of, when you look at Kano and you look at Lagos, there is a kind of uniqueness. They are the most populous state in the country, and in terms of commercial activities, there are a lot of commercial activities. But unlike Lagos, Kano has a wide land area. So in terms of transportation, you see there are challenges. We have seen it, and we are going to see how we can do it. And we also realize that the education, just like social protection, you said.
Yes.
And social protection, there is other that is nutrition challenges in the state. These are programs that are done across sectors.
Yes.
So it is with the coming of the commission that some will be dealt at the center, that is at the commission. And those that are being done at the other ministry, like you said, education, it is from the law that these things are going to be strengthened. So we are also in education, we are in inclusive education. In Kano, there is a school called Tudun Maliki. It has a junior secondary, it has a primary school, junior secondary school, and secondary school. And there is also this Kukabulikia.
Okay.
Kukabulikia is also an inclusive school. So there is also
there's inclusive education.
There is inclusive education in Kano
Okay.
inclusive state. And there is a policy since 2015.
Okay.
So with the coming of the commission, I think that will be an opportunity for us to be able to focus at the right direction.
Let me talk to the man from Jigawa. Haruna, you're looking at inclusiveness in terms of infrastructure, in terms of education, healthcare. And you mentioned earlier that being able to, leave spaces for even people with disability to park in public institutions is important. Let's look at your educational sector. What are you doing, or what is the plan of the Jigawa state government? You are already in full glare as well. Or what is the plan to make sure that people with disability are included?
Thank you. Jigawa State, like Kano State, is doing good planning with regard to person with disability.
Yes.
Even before the inception of the law, government has a lot of programs that take care of person with disability. Like you said, in Jigawa State we have 4 secondary schools that are inclusive, although special education schools.
Okay.
We are yet to get into inclusive and stages, but we have impaired school for hearing impaired person.
Okay.
In Hadija.
Okay.
It comprises from primary school, junior secondary school, up to secondary school level.
Okay.
Then we have blind, visually impaired and school at Duse.
Okay.
There we have primary, junior secondary school.
Okay.
We have that of Down syndrome children.
Okay. Owned by the government.
Yes, owned by the government, run by and funded by the government. Only that we have that of primary school. But about these two, visually and hearing impaired, and we have primary school, junior secondary school, up to and senior secondary school.
Okay.
Besides that, we're having a department in the College of Education, Guma, that and provide a kind of an special education for persons with disability. So government has invested with, even when the law was passed, government introduced a kind of free education for persons with disability. The person and their children too, they are now enjoying free and compulsory education in this country, from primary school down to senior secondary school, up to tertiary institutions. Their education is free, and we provide them with all kind of incentive, kind of instructional material to see that they are really acquired the appropriate land knowledge that's supposed to acquire like a normal person in society. Of course, government has done a lot, and apart from that, we are giving a kind of a package.
Like a relief package.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what we call social security allowances.
Okay.
That
Okay.
allowance was introduced by the government precisely in 2017.
Wow.
Yes.
And it has been sustained since
Sustained
2017.
of this moment.
Unfortunately, a lot of
We
people
spent out
don't know.
more than 5 billion naira on this
Wow.
kind of intervention.
Wow.
Of which I think about 4,555 beneficiaries are enjoying from this package.
Consistently every month.
Every month we are paying each and every beneficiary a sum of 7,000 naira as a grant.
I must throw this jibe here. 7,000 naira Jigawa State's paying to people with disability, while the federal government wants to pay us 5,000 naira for transport allowance. Let me take a break. But when I come back, there's a lady that's a part of the team who will be joining the conversation. Let's just talk to her and find out what can be done, especially because women are also people with disability and they have extra special needs.
Oi, sola. Hola. Che, Tizu. If the same man can be God, how can I be favor? As I dey hustle every day, carry party share. Ori mi dakuma je kori mi gbela. The things the way I see enu mi o le so. Never back down, put the hustle in motion. Make them no come to tell you say you know fit to get it back. Ori mi dakuma je kori mi gbela. Now blessing me this.
Welcome back to the Bumper Breakfast. You get to meet the lady on the team, Stella Osedome, who is the project manager for Action Against Hunger. And Stella, it's a pleasure having you here. Hunger, disability. I'm wondering, what's the relationship?
Okay.
We're all hungry. Whether we have disability or not, we are all hungry. Hope you brought food, Sha.
I think it's in the truck outside.
I saw you coming down from a car, not a truck. Let's talk.
Yeah. All right. Well, for us, I'm working with Action Against Hunger, as I told you, and we're implementing we call it Expanding Social Protection for Inclusive Development project in Jigawa and Kano State. We've been working with that state since 2013, as of today, and we've seen what the program has been achieving from the state, especially when you have the political will coming from the government, you try to achieve your objective in that state. So for this visit, we decided to see, because the two states are actually looking at PWDs, that's persons with disability, and both states have a law in place, but sometimes you have a law, and in terms of implementation is another issue.
Another story entirely.
Yeah, so, but the thing is that what we are doing is to see how we can support government to ensure they implement the provisions made for persons with disability in the law. Yeah, like the stakeholders have mentioned to you, there are some also which they've started. But looking at, you can't satisfy everyone.
Sure.
But if you look at persons with disability, they're actually the marginalized group in the country. I won't say it's only in Jigawa and Kano, but I'm also amazed with what Lagos State has done so far. Looking at inclusive education, I was so impressed where you put the children with disability and without disability in
the same classroom, so they are able to relate together.
So you see, it's just like you are trying to change people's mindset from the foundation.
To say there's no difference.
We are all the same. Don't look at my disability, but ability to contribute to the society. So based on that, we've seen that they've done a lot, and I'm so happy that when the stakeholders from our two states they were so impressed. And this is it's just a two-way approach. I'm disabled, I'm learning from you as well. You two, you are able, you are learning from me as well. Looking at the sign language, even me that I was trying to struggle to learn all those.
Can I remember?
I think your sign.
Because I know I remember. I was supposed to be able to sign my name. Oh my God.
So it's kind of interesting, because if you look at the society these days, we see once a person with disability walks into this room, you perceive the person to be a beggar. Or is a nuisance to you, you understand? You feel a person comes to maybe ask for alms or something like from any other thing from you. But by the time you start interacting with them, you'll be able to understand that, yes, this person can contribute to this society. So for speed, that's the abbreviation of our project.
Of your project?
Yeah, it's actually trying to see how we can strengthen the system and make it more inclusive in the state. So that's why we decided to say, okay, Lagos have gone this far, so let these two states come and learn. Because Kano State is trying to establish a commission, while Jigawa is looking at having a disability trust fund. And in Lagos State, they've achieved these two
fates quite easily.
So
I think Lagos is giving about 500. They have about 500 million. Naira
so
right now.
So we want to see how they generate that.
We are pace setters in Lagos.
No, you are. We were saying yesterday that Lagos is a country, not a state.
Lagos is a country. That's a really, really good one.
Because we didn't go only to the education aspect. We also went to the transport system.
Yeah.
And
healthcare.
We didn't actually go to
hospitals.
Okay. I wish we could, but we didn't go there. We just went to the transport system to see what has been done. I can see, seriously, Lagos is not leaving anyone behind. They are actually taking everyone
along on the journey.
On the journey, you see, RAM is being provided. Making life easy for everybody, comfortable for everyone. So Lagos is a place where I will encourage other states to come and learn from. Yeah. Yes.
All right, we've been talking about the disability law, and the project manager of Action Against Hunger, Stella Osedome, has been with me in the studio. Let me take another break and then bring Rabiu back to the studio so we can just round off the conversation. They have another place to be.
Okay. Should I?
Welcome back to the Bumper Breakfast. As we round off this morning, I still have Rabiu Bichi, who is the Director Partners SSG Office of Kano State Government, in the studio this morning. Of course, Haruna Ibrahim is the Director of Financial Administration, Jigawa State Rehabilitation Board, Ministry of Home of Human Affairs and Social Development. You've learned you're going back.
Yes.
And I believe that something will change when you get back. I'd like you to leave a word and a promise on this table so that when you come back, I can hold you to that word and say,
Yes.
what have you done differently?
Yes. When we go back to Kano, our main target, first target, is to see that this inclusive education, the one that we have been talking of, is that to be able to strengthen its monitoring, and that we are hoping that the law, the amendment bill will soon be signed, and anytime the commission is has been established, I think that will be our main starting point. But meanwhile, we will look at those challenges in terms of education by as a first step. Then we'll also look at the issue of transport. That this is our main thing that we think we will look forward
to doing. Haruna, you're doing quite a lot, and I like the social intervention that you're already doing. But inclusive education is something you've not touched. What are you going to do differently? Leave a promise on the Bumper Breakfast table.
Actually, we are going to do a lot to see that we meet up with the minimum standard. Because, as I said earlier, we are now at the primary stage of providing special education alone, without integrating the person with disability in the same school, the same classes with normal
People
person.
without disability.
Yes, now we are going to graduate from that stage to actually integrated and inclusive education process, while the different groups will be merged together to undergo the same process of learning in our primary school and secondary school education. Because we feel it is something very interesting, very, very important for us to do that. Because as Project Manager said, there's a lot to drive from the inclusive education, apart from normal, that cannot be achieved in conventional schools. So besides that, as I said, disability fund is about to be launched actually, and our disability law is a very part of the Lagos State government, because we are in Lagos State precisely 6 years ago, when the state is about to conceive the issue of disability law. We learned from them. After learning, we went there and finalized our document. Then it was transmitted to the State Assembly. Goes to Kain, it was passed, and then consequently the government signed into law. That was precisely on January 2017. So then we have been doing a lot to see that, and all section of all the provision of the law is being implemented. Though there are partial implementation of this law, but about what we see now, it will change us to do more, so that we can be able to implement the law into two. Before the end of this year, we are about to launch the disability law. Even the government, the governor down to deputy governor and all political appointees, head of service, permanent secretaries, head of extra administrative department, labor unions, private organizations, all make pledges to the fund. So very soon.
So there is going to be fun.
Yes.
Maybe I should. You need to invite me to Jigawa State when you're launching it.
We will.
You need to invite me to Jigawa to come and see with my korokoro. I will bring the Goshians, the news. So invite me or buy me tickets. Bring me to Jigawa. Let me come and say it.
Yeah, okay.
All right. So we're talking about disability, and let's quickly do this. This is A. They're supposed to know. This is A. This is B. And this is C. So you have A. This is B. And this is C. So for those who do not know, you learn because there are people around you that you need to communicate with, and it is important. Thank you so much, Rabiu.
We love you all.
Oh yeah. All right, so thank you so much for being here with me on the Bumper Breakfast this morning. Haruna, it's been a pleasure. And Stella, thank you so much. I need to take a break. When we return, we're talking about Nigeria. Don't go away.